Hey YouTube, it's me, Jim the Giant. So you know you're a HEMA geek when you see one of these in a skip, and your immediate thought is, I could turn it into one of these. So in this video I'll show you how to make your own Vambrace. You'll need, of course, second-hand suitcase, or just some leather and buckles if you want to pay for those yourself. You'll also need a Stanley knife, some curved upholstery needles, although I'm sure regular leather needles will work as well, it'll just be significantly harder, and a roll of some decent strong thread. So the first thing you'll want to do is you'll need to take the circumference of your wrist, the circumference of your forearm at its widest point, and the measurement from the inside of your elbow to the base of your wrist. So from there, mark out on your leather the length of your forearm, and then take the widest point of your forearm and add about 3 inches to it. And at the wrist end, take the circumference of that along there and add about 2 inches to that. So cut out that shape. You may decide you want to add a little bit of an arch at the wrist end to have a curved wrist protection bit. If you're going to be wearing the Vambrace with gloves, I'd recommend not having that. It does make gloves very difficult to put on, but if you use a basket-hilted sword like me, then you don't really need gloves anyway, so it's not so much of an issue. If you're going to make a right and a left one, perhaps you're using a basket-hilted sword, perhaps you'll add a wrist protector on the right-hand side, but not have it on the left-hand side, so that you can still fit a glove over the top of it. So, yeah, mark out the leather, cut that out, wrap it around your wrist, and then from there you can see how well it's going to fit and make some minor adjustments. Bear in mind though that with that first sheet you are going to inevitably need a little bit more width, because once you put the extra layer of leather on there and the padding, that's going to make it considerably tighter around your arm. So once you've got that first piece of leather, you then trace around it onto the second piece of leather and cut that out. There should be in the suitcase, if you're using the suitcase, side reinforcements. That works brilliantly for the padding. So mark that, put that on the Vambrace, on the leather sheet. Chop it up into slices, like in this diagram here, and then basically just sew the two leather sheets together with the padding in between, and between each layer, sew in between it and around the outside. Once you've got that in place, then get someone to give you a hand with this, because it's quite tricky, but wrap it around your arm in the right place, and from that you should be able to tell where you want to sew the buckles in. From there, obviously, just sew the buckles in place, and this is what you end up with. Overall, it ended up a tiny bit tighter than I'd like it to be, so at some point I might reposition these buckles. Also, I would like to use these with steel weapons at some point, so I'll probably eventually end up replacing the thick card reinforcement with steel, and that should offer plenty of protection then if I do that. And I'd like to use a sewing machine to do a better job with the stitching, because this is extremely amateurish, but it certainly does do the job. So here's me testing it out for the first time.
Yeah.
Got it? Recording?
Yeah.
So as you can see, it certainly seems to take a beating quite nicely, but armour needs to be able to do a lot more than just that, and there's only one way to truly test it. Keep power like that, guys.